lovely people, time for another little vlog from me. Bribed a few kids with screens and Lego, so hopefully I'll get a few minutes to record this, and I've allowed the oldest teenager to eat in the kitchen without his siblings seeing, because I think he's actually hungry as opposed to bored snacking, which happens all the time. Oh my goodness, how much do they eat during lockdown? I'm getting to the point where I might just open their mouths and spoon in some flour and water and an egg and tell them to deconstructed bread. I feel like that's the way forward. So hopefully I've got a few minutes to talk to you about sibling rivalry. Someone messaged me and asked if I could just give a few tips on how I help the kids when they're not getting on, when they're arguing, especially during this season where we are spending even more time together. And of course, at first I had to say that's just not me. It's not my household. They just get on all the time and they hold hands together and they sing and they pray. No, that's just rubbish. So yeah, I thought I'd give you a few top tips, and all I can say is that they're just what happens in our house. They might not work for your house, for your particular kids, for your particular setup, for your way of doing stuff, but I can just talk about what helps us. And I did actually ask the kids, so I asked them, what is it that me and Dad have done that has actually helped you guys when you're feeling annoyed with a brother or sister, or there's just an argument that you can't get past? And 3 of them said when we forced them to play together, which I was quite surprised about. But if I am feeling personally stressed by their argument, then I go for divide and conquer. I separate them and I send one over there, one in a garden, one in the bathroom. I will just separate them so that I can calm down. Whereas if it's those two just going at each other, then I will force them to play together. Whether that's go and play football together in the garden, whether that's go and build puzzles if they've fallen out with a younger one, whether that's go and do Lego together, because you can build whilst you're building your relationship. They love a good teaching point as well. But I've often just sent them to go and play together. And the first few minutes, it just goes wrong. They carry on the argument or a new argument starts. But if I stick to my guns and make them just play together until they get on, the kids have said that often that works. They probably start just teaming up against me and my husband, but if that builds their relationship, then that's okay. So we also, in our family, a few people would already know that we don't do fair, we do selfless. If you do fair, then you get what you deserve, in our opinion, and we don't want them to live life expecting fair. Life's not fair. And also Grace would say that we get what we don't deserve. So God shows us grace. We should be separated from God because of all the rubbish we do, but Grace says that he loves us no matter what. So we try and get them to lean into one another's preferences. We try and get them to choose each other rather than choose themselves. And another thing that one of the oldest ones said actually was that when we actually asked the question, if Jesus was here right now, what would he do? If you read the Gospels with your kids, then they will start to realise that Jesus was just selfless and kind, righteously angry at times, but he mostly put other people before him, and he challenged different things in different ways. And so that's quite a good question of what would he actually do right now? Because with all the arguments in the world of why you get to be selfish, actually challenging them with the gospel of Jesus laid down his life for us. So what would he actually do right now in this situation? Would he give way on the Fortnite game, or would he keep it to himself? Those kind of things, one of my eldest said, was really, really helpful. So hopefully that's helpful for you. I'm just reading my notes and just laughing at them slightly. Also, I found that mum sets the tone. I don't know if that's the same for your household, but if I'm in a naggy, stressy mood, then that tends to be how the house is. And so I have to set the tone of example, really, of how to act around them and how to act with the relationships that they see me in, whether it be with my husband or with a friend or with just someone that I'm meeting or someone that's wronged me. I know that they are constantly watching my example in that, and I think we all know that I do not get that right a lot of the time, but that's my aim. There's no point having a low bar aim that you might reach. It's best to have a high bar aim that you possibly can't reach, but it's better to go for something higher than that. We also take time out of the argument to talk to the kids about their frustrations with that person. Also trying to get them to realise what each other's personalities and characteristics are like, and also show them where they're alike, which they don't quite like it when we point out, hey, actually, you might respond in a crying way and they might respond in an angry way, but actually you were both feeling quite passionate about what was happening there, and so we're just trying to help them to see where they are alike as well. We also do stuff which is just building relationships, so we might get like a box of celebrations and you have to choose one, and you have to say to the brother or sister next to you, I celebrate you because you are, and they have to fill in the gap. And sometimes that's really hard for the ones that don't necessarily see each other's strong points, and so we do a lot of that kind of building up outside of the moment. And if the house, me and my husband can be a little bit sarcastic, that was a sarcastic way of saying that, beautifully put, and so if the house is a bit burny and putting each other down, then we come down on that and we say sorry if we've been the example in that. I think, yeah, we try to get the younger ones to honour their older siblings. Really still working on that, not sure we've nailed that one. And for the older ones to look after those that are younger than them. So that's in our constant talk throughout days and weeks, would be honour and selfless and love and looking after, and what would Jesus do. So that's kind of in our constant everyday language. I think also we make a point of saying I am sorry for, and they have to say what they're sorry for, and then we kind of expect them to say I forgive you if they can, and we make them hug it out, which they do not want to do. But when I was asking them questions about this, they said actually the making them hug it out, although in the moment they're like, oh, I'd rather do anything else, actually it does let it drop like that. And because we're trying to teach that Jesus' forgiveness is as quick as a flick. And so we're trying to teach them to also forgive in the same way. So with all of my top tips, please don't hear that we have a perfect family, or I am a perfect mother, or they are perfectly doing any of this. But we are 16 years into drip feeding all of this in on a daily basis. So I think that's everything that I put on my list for now. And yeah, I just probably should have checked that before I wandered my eyes away and didn't have contact with you. I'm very sorry. So if you've got any questions, that something that I've said that's made you think, yeah, but how would you, then feel free to ask me. I don't mind you messaging me or getting in touch to ask me how I specifically do something, but hopefully that is a helpful few little tips of how to help our children to love one another and lean in to one another's preferences. And I will see you again soon, and I will now go and see if there's any food left in the kitchen. Bye! Mwah!